Well, Graham, good to see you again. The day after the night before, I suspect, in terms of, well, how do you reflect on last night and now it's all kind of calmed down somewhat?
I think the same opinion as I did at the end of the game. It was obviously two contrasting halves, quite extreme, both sides, and we just looked at we haven't had a chance to watch the game back, obviously, because we were training again this morning, but just had a brief look at the data and it's quite black and white between the first half and the second half. So we just fed that back to the players just to give them some semblance of understanding, what happened last night and what we have to improve on going forward. But and what the players did improve on in a click of fingers at half time and just transform a game and win the game, which was brilliant to see.
In many ways, is it of benefit for the game to play out in the way that it did, to kind of have that hard evidence to show actually this is what, if you do this, this is what you can do in the second half?
I think I think we're pretty understanding of how the challenges will come in every different facet, from different angles and different scenarios, and pretty much faced them all over the last 30 odd years as a player or as a coach. So you try to prepare the players in a way where nothing is ever final and fatal, so there's always an opportunity, if the game's obviously still ongoing, to find a way, and but the experience of going through those moments helps that understanding, that thought process, and because experience, if you're intelligent enough to understand what happened and what happened to correct it, then you're better prepared for the next time it will come along. And no doubt we will go a goal down at some point this season, hopefully not too often, but it's definitely going to happen. So it gives the players confidence that we know how to turn a performance around, and it needed turning around in a big way, because first half they were completely the dominant team.
Yeah, and spoke last night about you learning about this group and how they respond to that in-game adversity, but as players, maybe the newer players in this group, is that a good learning curve for them to experience that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's not just about yourself, but also about your teammate.
Yeah.
Who's next to you in the change room, and listen, we can all talk a good game. We all talk in the staff office as staff members or in the change room. I can do this, we can do that. But you have to do it, and then when the pressure's on or when the chips are down, that's when you have to prove who you are. And I think a lot of the players proved who they are to their teammates, because they are a new group, or half of them are a new group. So they're all understanding about each other, finding out about each other as they are with me and as I am with them. And that's how a collective trust is built. It's through experiences. You can't talk your way in a classroom or in a analysis room and get these experiences. You have to be out there, fighting them. And so from that perspective, I think we'll be a stronger group for it, and potentially stronger the next time it happens. But it doesn't guarantee that we'll come out of it. But hopefully we'll be able to maybe impact on the performance before it gets to half time, and the players can maybe do that in game.
Yeah, obviously second half again switched to the two up top and the 10 in behind, which we saw at Blackburn. And I remember last week we spoke and you said it was a relatively new concept and there'd not been too much work done on that. No. Did that further develop your understanding of how they as a team can adapt to that system and potentially outline an option for you moving forward?
Yeah, I think because we've had Saturday, Tuesday, we still haven't had an opportunity to, the first time we did it last week against Blackburn, I think it was, Blackburn, we didn't really have the time in between to the Luton game, to last night's game, to actually analyse and feed back to the players. I've analysed it and made some notes and points, but we haven't actually had time to work on anything. And even before last night we hadn't, but there was that 20-minute cameo of it against Blackburn for us to work from. The players, when we did it, they sort of felt a little bit more comfortable with it and familiar. And it is something myself and Chris spoke about this morning, that we are going to have to feed back on that eventually. I didn't want to do it this morning because I haven't watched the game back, I don't want to just give many old clips. It's got to be specific that we can the players, it's easy for them to understand. So, but yeah, I want us to be adaptable. We have to be. I think we have to be ready to change something, to change the course of a game, to find a way back in a game, or to shore up a game, whatever it is. And we have to look at everything. It could be through personnel, it could be through formation, whatever it is, or just basically coming off something or going on it a bit heavier. Yeah. There's loads of little different ways of changing things, and so we'll have to learn a bit. It was a great reaction from the players, but like I said last night, I don't think it had that much of an impact on the game. I just felt the players step forward. Their first thought was step forward, and I thought in the first half for half an hour it was probably step back, and I think that was the biggest difference that the players took on.
That slight tweak then in the front three. I mean, does that also potentially align with the players you've got in this group and potentially the players that you might have available in this group?
Oh, no, it's not about the players in the group. What we have, I feel myself and Chris have always been pragmatic in our history of understanding what a squad has, where its strengths lie, and forming a team around that. Because you can't just wait for this perfect squad. When does that happen? It's 3 or 4 windows into a job, and 18 months, 2 years. Let's be real. We have to work quickly, and we have to work with what you have. And I think we've got an ability to do that. Understand what a player is, and try and play a game that he's suited for, and obviously the group. But I look at the team, and we have more than one centre forward. We have good players. We have players who can play in central areas, in wide areas. So I think it's just trying to find answers for whatever players are available at that time, and rather than shoehorn them in, can we adapt what we have to suit the players? Yeah.
Antoni Sarcevic came off last night. Obviously played a big part in that game. What was his situation? Was it cramp or was it an ankle?
He had cramp. He got smacked on the ankle. He's got a bruised toe. I could go through a list of bangs and knocks that Sars has had over the last 3 or 4 games, but he always puts himself out there. But it was just cramp. His running data is through the roof every game. He's a superb athlete, but we have to just be careful. We don't have the same scenario as last year. So, but fortunately, it wasn't that. He wasn't through injury. He came off last night. It was just cramp in both his calves. So, he should be fine.
Speaking of data, I would love to know Curtis Tilt's Jules 1 data, particularly from last night. There was a wonderful moment in the second half where he clattered into one of their players just outside their box. I mean, what do you make to the start he's had? Is he everything you expected he'd be, Curtis Tilt, when you brought him in?
Well, you see the performance last night where he's so aggressive, and it was a great press and tackle. It weren't a foul or anything. It was just brilliant timing, but he commits to it, and it's what we saw when he played against us. We just seemed to find he wasn't involved in any of our attacks when we played against him. It was always against somebody else. Whenever it was in his domain, he did what he had to do, and we were just really impressed with that. And it's quite rare that a player will stand out in a game, because most of my time he's always looking at my team, what we can do better, and we just couldn't seem to get the better of him when we played against him. And so when we were looking at going to the new level and the new the higher quality of players we were playing against, and obviously his history of playing in League One, and obviously his history of playing against us and always impressing, it was this was the sort of, I called him a monster last night. First, straight to him. I went, "You're a monster." I love it, but he is. He's brilliant. He's a great lad. The lads love him. He's like he trains like that, but he's so, easy maintenance, under the radar. Just wants to come in, be part of the team, win his game football, and go home. He's a great lad, and I think he's come here with a bit between his teeth to be successful. So it was. I thought first half, I think he could have been better. I thought he was a little bit deep. But first, he responded at half-time, same as everyone did, about squeezing line, being more aggressive, getting those spaces tight, because I think that's his game. He's brilliant and he's quick as anything.
Yeah.
So anything that goes over the top, he's going to be first onto it. So he had to back himself a little bit more in the second half, and he was super.
And challenges like that and moments in games where we've seen on a number of occasions early on this season where a challenge goes in and then player involved straight up to G up the crowd, and there's a real bond between the fans and the players out there. We saw some great scenes as well with Sam getting that moment in front of the fans. Is that just organic? Is that something that's just happening, and the way in which there's such a unity, I suppose, that's evident to see at the moment?
Yeah, look, we don't plan on any of that interaction. It's not like make sure you do it. It's just I think they feel like they want to do it. They sit. I saw Josh Neville doing it. Tilty last night, Sam at the end, Bobby on Saturday, Humps the week before. It's just what they feel like.
Yeah.
That's it. I think it's authentic. It's they feel it. It's not just let's tick a box. I think they want that relationship, the warmth of the crowd, the backing, and I think it's just a natural component. I like it. Even the huddle before the game, that's something I didn't even expect them to do it. That's just the captains decide to do it. Whatever the players feel makes them feel better and makes them feel more together and with everybody, and I give them the empowerment to do it. It's not about me. It's about the players feeling that they're part of something bigger than themselves. It's special, but we have to work exceptionally hard at the basics to keep it right. And there'll be times, and I think last night was a time when we needed that the fans to stay with us, because I said that after the game. We didn't give them anything to cheer about at half time, but they were with us, and I think that means, well, I know that means a lot to the players and the staff.
Yeah. On your availability front, firstly with Joe Wright, obviously concussion protocol at the moment. Where is he on that basis, and is he available for Saturday?
I think Saturday would be too soon for him. So I think his return to training date is Monday. So that takes him out of Saturday. Obviously Neil Burns not available, so we'll have the same 4 centre halves available. But we made a couple of changes last night to that back line because. As I've explained to the squad, that we need to keep everyone available for as long as possible. So I'm not going to, thrash the same 11 players, game in, game out, certainly for a period of Saturday, Tuesday for a month. We need everyone available, and everyone got through the game. Obviously, Sars with cramp, but everyone else got through the game well. But Joe will, I think, miss on Saturday as well.
And Callum Kavanagh, I know he's had this tricky shin issue.
Yeah, no, I think it's plateaued out in his sort of trajectory of recovery. So I think he's still going to be a couple of weeks, unfortunately. So he's still not training with us, and he wasn't out on the grass today. So like I said, with him, with Andy Cook, we put them out to train, and we assess them after that because it's a new stimulus. And then if it's not a positive one, we just take them back a bit. If it's positive, then they go again. And I think with Carvey's just gone, right, we just have to come back a step. So we'll see how he is.
I know we touched on Nick Powell last night. In terms of his availability, how close is he to being available for you?
It's a difficult one for us to assess, really, because all the sessions in between, the games are really short and intense, but not long, not endurance based. So it's difficult to assess where he is for certainly for a start. But he played half an hour for us the week before in a bounce game, so I think as a potential squad player at the moment, I think he could be available for that. But we just want to be right with him, and it's just about probably like a rehab player, really, just seeing how much they can go to day in, day out, and then sort of make a judgment call on that. And listen to Nick as well. We have to take into account how he feels. But he's only been here a couple of days so far, so we're not at that stage yet. And
just on the window activity front, in terms of outgoings, and I appreciate we've asked you this already this summer window, but has there been any developments at all on potential outgoings in the squad?
No, there's been inquiries for a couple of players, and the players are aware of those inquiries, but it's options that they don't particularly feel like they want to take right now. So that's their prerogative to decide their own futures. So we'll just see how that goes over the next few weeks.
And finally from me, Peterborough next for you. Obviously, they haven't had the best of starts this season, but I guess you'll have to be just as wary as you have been with all the opposition you've played so far this season.
100%. I think it's Peterborough, a well-established League One team that have won promotions to the Championship several times under a fantastic manager in Darren. So the challenge will be there for us. It's we saw that with Northampton after their disappointing first game. How tough the game was the week after. This will be the same. I'm sure their form is something that they want to turn around and change, but we have to just focus on ourselves, and obviously we have improvements to make. Last night, first half, nowhere near. So just because the second half was better and we won the game, doesn't think we can't think we're the finished article. We have to make that improvement day in, day out to make sure that all these challenges we can face head on, and Saturday will certainly be a challenge. But as it is with the players, they're looking forward to every single one of them.
Best of luck with it, great. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
When you say that there's been inquiries about players leaving Bradford, how difficult is it for you as a management team that I think there's 6-7 days of the window left, that if someone goes, you want to try and replace them? It becomes a very hectic time, I presume.
Well, yeah, it's hectic with calls now, but if we were searching for like 4 or 5 players right now, then it would be extremely hectic. But we're not in that position, and a couple of players that might move on, we don't have to replace anyway. So it's regardless of what happens with those guys, we only need, I believe, one player to sort of make us feel like we've got the competitive squad we need for the next 4 or 5 months. So those players won't sort of interact with that decision or hold us back from bringing that player in potentially, or it won't leave us with a hole that we have to fill. So it's just down to those guys to decide what's best for them.
And when you said about having to or wanting to rotate the squad to protect the players during the Saturday-Tuesday period, is it different at the start of the season to what it is later in the season, given that they've only just started playing competitive matches?
Well, it's the same scenario, but for different reasons. I think later on the season, last year when we did it, I don't know what month it would have been. It maybe February, March, but that we had a lot of players that had come back from being out for a few months. 3 or 4 months in the first half of last season. So there was that level of commitment, and it was 13 games in 40 days. That's a big chunk. This one is a bit different because it's the start of the season, but like I said, I think our pre-season games were a little bit light because of the changes to the fixture programme in the AFL. Different leagues starting at different times, so it was difficult to get games, and then a couple of teams pulled out. So I felt we went into the season probably a game or 2 away from our optimum starting levels, but I think we're just trying to. It's not really how we're managing now is not for what they've just been through. It's actually for in 3 months' time, 4 months' time, that we've still got 18, 19 competitive players. So it's it's something I haven't really done before in my management career. I've always been about keeping the shirt and through positive performance or win, but we just have to manage in a different way because the players of 50 games guaranteed are getting less and less and less, and it's because of the game, how fast it is, how big the squads are. So I don't think players are getting that exposure to playing that many games. So we have to try and be proactive and make those changes before it becomes too late and we lose them. But injuries are always going to happen. Premier League clubs have been rotating squads for years and still pick up injuries, so there's nothing guaranteed. But we have to try our best to not be in the same scenario we were, in September, October last year, if we can.
Cheers.
Okay.
Say, Graham, they one more player. Have you got someone specific in mind, or is it still a position you're targeting?
No, not a specific player, but a specific position. I feel we need to strengthen if possible. So we're still. I think it's one of those where we sort of know the market will come, the player will come from. It might be a a later one than, even though I'm saying this with 7 days to go or something, but we know what deadline's like. It can go right up to last minute. So I feel that it might be one, within 48 hours of the deadline passing. So we'll see how that progresses.
You seem to be in quite a relaxed position in terms of where your squad is, though, at this stage. It's, as you say, some clubs are still very much chasing numbers, but you seem to have got pretty much most boxes ticked.
I feel so. I think I've been really delighted, really, with how we got so many players in before the start of pre-season. I think it was good, and the right players, not just any player. It was more important to get the right players than get them in by a certain time. So to be able to manage that, and both of those boxes were ticked, which was good. And I said last week, if we don't bring anyone else in, I think we've got a really good squad, and I think they're proving that game in, game out. So far in a short period of time. But but our duty is to try and improve all the time. And once the window shuts, then we coach like hell, we encourage like hell to get the best out of players, and we're still doing that now. But we have to look at every opportunity to improve, and if there's that player there that we feel helps the group, then it's our responsibility to do that. But there's no guarantee we'll get it, and if we don't, I'm perfectly happy with the group we have.
As you say, recruiting as early as you did with the bulk of these players and getting the ones in you wanted so soon, you can sort of see the benefits of that already by the fact that how well they've basically sort of bedded into the culture.
Yeah, I think so. The culture and the environment and the pressure of playing for Bradford City, I think it's important for players to understand that really quickly, and pre-season is a perfect time to learn about your new club and us to learn about new players, because you haven't got the pressure of winning 3 points every 3 days. You can mix and match your team going into games, and all the training, their focus is on the training rather than the game that's coming up at the weekend. So we can put a lot of things in place, but we didn't want to overload them too much with everything. So there's still a bedding in process going on around home games, away games, travel, how we do all these sort of things. But I wanted to wait until we were actually in those moments to sort of guide them to what we want to do, rather than try and get it all in 6 weeks. I wanted to get the core principles of what we were as a club, or what we are as a club, I should say, and what we are as a team. And I think the players have took that on board really well. And but like I say, it's still a work in progress. There's still lots to go. I don't think we're anywhere near the finished article of what I think this group of players can be.
Talking to Nick Powell, I mean, he's like yourself. He's played in all 4 divisions. He's got an unbelievable CV, unbelievable highlights reel. How big was is it a calculated risk, given obviously the issues he's had with the injuries in recent times? Yeah,
look, I think every signing you make has an element of risk. There's always a leap of faith in there, and, but you have to balance up the pros and cons, the length of the contract, the finance involved, all those sort of things, the chat with the player. You have to put it all on the table before you actually go, is this worth? Everything we do is risk reward. How we play, set pieces, signing, it's all about risk and reward. And if you can get the balance more towards reward, then you're in a good place. And I feel the reward that we could potentially get from Nick, and what Nick could potentially get from us, is worth us coming together to try and have a relationship that is successful both. I think he's look, the technical side of his game is undoubted. I don't think there's anyone he's ever worked with would question his quality in possession or his football intelligence. It's just injuries have hit him hard. Certainly in the recent season that's just gone, he didn't play much football at all. Probably for different reasons before his injury, but we don't want to give up on people. I think he's still a young man. He's only 31. So that you can still, come back from things and have a good career and continue to be a successful professional footballer and still enjoy your career. And I think that's what he's got in mind when he's come to us, and we have to understand what we're bringing in, and he has to understand what he's coming into. And I think he's understanding that more and more day in, day out. It's good that he knows a few of the players anyway who have bought into it. from last season onwards, Burner, Sars, Max Power, Tilty, these lads he's been with, you can see how integrated they are into it, from when they've come in. So he's got great people around him to help him understand what the challenge is. But I'm quite excited about what Nick could bring to us.
I think Sars used the same word, excited. So I think he sort of said, he said, I was buzzing when I found out he was coming because, he's probably one of the best players I played with.
Yeah. Well, I think players want to play with good players. I don't think they want to be this individual in a team where they're above it and the level and they're frustrated. I think they want to look around the change and go, decent, good lad, fit as anything, strong, whatever it is. Because I believe if you look around and change room and that's the feeling you get, I think it helps you. I think you grow 10%, and that's what our team and our squad is about. So another good player, technical player who can create is brilliant for the group to bring in. But then the acid test comes into the character and personality, because if you're a bit of a it's not going to go down well. But that's the reality. It's whatever you've got there. If you want to be your own guy and not be part of this group, then it's not going to work. So there's a coming together of players going. We want them to be what they are as people, but you also, if you're in a team game, you have to blend in. You have to be one of the group. So I've got no qualms that Nick won't do that.
When you were sort of, as you say, going through the character test, did you speak to some of the current players here? Because obviously a lot of them have been in the dressing room.
Well, do you know what? I try to avoid that if I can, because I think it's important that I make up mine. Listen, and sometimes if I could ask a player who plays in the same position, you go, no, I wouldn't sign him, he's terrible, but that means I'm going to play. It could be that. Or this guy might have had an argument with him once. He could be a great lad, but he could have had an argument with him and don't want to do it. So I just think you got to be careful. You try to find out about people.
Sort of perhaps get a vibe from the general.
I would prefer to try and get a vibe from them, and then try and create an environment where people don't feel like being that person, or outside or acting behaving badly and stuff like that. We try to have an environment where we don't give them the reasons to be justified in poor behaviour. That's I think everyone has got the capability of being a good person or a bad person. I think everyone's got that in them. You know what I mean? So it's about trying to create an environment where you get the best out of people, and that's what we try to do. It doesn't always work, but I do believe that a person can act at one club in a completely different way to a different club because of circumstances, and we try to have a place where the circumstances are good for players. We're always clear that there's always going to be players in the team, players out of the team, but after that I think everyone is treated exactly the same. We'll see how it goes.
I was just thinking, last year and a half, it's one of the things you've been pleased about, the honesty in your performance. You might have the odd get beaten by a better side one day, that happens to everyone. You might have a bad half, you might have a bit of bad luck, but you know what you're going to get from your group of players.
Yeah, listen, I didn't see the first half last night coming, to be honest. Like I said last night, you have to give Stockport credit for that. You know what I mean? If we'd have got beat, if that had been the end of the game at half time, we had to hold hands up and go, better team won. That was it. So we understand that. I think there's always two sides to things. So I think when your team doesn't play as well as you'd hoped, you have to look at your own performance and what you're doing things, but you also have to look at the opponent and what they did. And they were the better team. But what we're trying to build is that characteristic of there's always an opportunity. Every day you wake up, there's an opportunity to be better. Every time you go on the pitch, there's an opportunity to be better and to win, to be good. And half time's half time. It's not the end of the game. So that's what pleased me most about the players. All the things we've been talking about and trying to put in place in meetings, in the training sessions, in Austria and everything. They have to come to the fore in moments like that when the pressure's on, when you can't. We were in a bit of a hole last night. How do you get out of that? And it's just inch by inch, isn't it? And that's what we did from minute one. We just made an impression on the game in the first minute, turned it slightly, second minute, turned it again, third minute, scored. and then it flows from there. So I think it was great to see that honesty and that togetherness. It can take you a long way. And I must make this point. I said it on Saturday. We're a good football team as well. We've got good players. It's not just we just outwork teams. We've got intelligent players and we've got good technicians. It's about bringing the whole package.
With groups, they've got to come together in their own way, and I mean, as well, you'll take them training every day, obviously, but you sort of keep the working week. You'll keep away from the dressing room, that sort of thing. They've got to all sort of bond and work things out to themselves and gel. Are you sort of big on that?
I am, because it's preparation for a game is I have to lead the way because I'm the manager and I have to how we're going to play this, that, the other. But then you have to understand what the game's going to be, and it's going to have to. They're going to have to make decision after decision. I mean, I reckon in a minute of a game, they're making 10 decisions. Player, what they need me next to them, like tell them it's impossible. So you have to empower them during the week to be able to make these decisions, guide them for it, but then let them go. And that's how I see it. So that's why they deserve so much credit for last night, because I spoke for 45 seconds at half time. How much can you say? 45 seconds. There's only a little bit, but it was. I think we could have talked all day about the first half, but it had gone. So this is what was going to happen in the second half, and this is what we're going to do, and that's it. But it's the players that take it onto there. So I do like that. I wanted to be treated like that as a player when I was an experienced player. I wanted to be trusted from a manager, from a coach. I wanted to. I know what to take forward now. I've listened to you from Monday to Friday. I know what you want from me tomorrow.
Sometimes less is more, isn't it? Sometimes.
100%.
Yeah, I was thinking. Obviously, Cookie's coming back. He's entering the final stages of his rehab. Psychologically, that must be a lift for all the players, and they must be genuinely pleased for him as well as a bloke.
Well, I just said there. All players want to be surrounded by good players, and everyone knows Cookie's a good player. So, just been talking to him there. He's got a right sweat on this morning because it was quite an intense session, but. I said to him, I bet that feels good, what I mean? Because it's you can work exceptionally hard with a medical team, but it only takes you to a certain point, and then you have to have that randomness of playing against your teammates and in an intensified football session. And but he's fully committed to it. He's thrown himself into it. He knows he's going to be rusty. He knows he's going to be frustrated at times on that recovery, but he was like that when he was fit. So frustrated. I mean, so and there's still other players like that where things don't go right. So I think that's we're seeing the normal Cookie come back when we hear him moaning about something or other on the pitch. But the thing is, what I really like about him is he just gets on with the next action really quickly. He's took that on board more than any other player, I think, in the last 18 months. So fair play to him.
Yeah, thank you.